Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. This week we talk about Boustead Plantations. Interesting news over the week. A lot has happened. Some of you are caught up, some of you are not. But for those who are not caught up, here's what's happening. The first thing is in around August 24th, KLK or Kuala Lumpur Kepong, which is a plantation company, announced that they want to buy a big stake, 33%, in Boustead Plantation, which is owned by Boustead.
Yes.
The deal is worth about 1.15 billion. They will have a 33% stake, roughly 1 ringgit 55 per share.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, at the end of September, there's actually a huge plunge.
In just 3 days only, actually.
Yeah, in just 3 days, it dropped.
Or 2 days.
Quite a big amount. And I know this was big because I actually had friends from Singapore suddenly texting me, hey, what's happening with Boustead? For you don't know Boustead or Boustead, I don't know how to pronounce. Boustead is also, it has Singaporean connections as well. So that's why they are familiar with the name, right? It's an English, it's colonial times kind of company.
Correct.
So they asked, what's happening? Then I'm like, well, okay, they didn't know this was big. So that's when I started doing a little bit of research. So anyway, it dropped 18%. And why is that the case? Because it was then later announced that Boustead Plantation, the takeover was completely off.
Yeah.
Rumors are that the government blocked it. Now the question is, regardless of who blocked it or why there was a decision made, before we go there, we need to know why first that there is this acquisition in the first place. Why the need to sell your stake to Kuala Lumpur Kepong? So to give some brief background, LTAT, which is our army, basically.
Military pension fund.
Military pension fund. They own several of these companies, and these companies generate dividends to pay for our armies, right?
Correct.
So this is very important. BHIC, Heavy Industries, Boustead Plantation are one of them. Affin Bank as well, Famaniaga.
Before you go to the next one, I just want to share, interestingly, out of these four, 3 is in a dire state that they are having issues. So Famaniaga, PN17, this one is related to the Navy ship, something to do with that. Also, last time also there's like issue like they are trying to find there's a few billion that they spend. Where is it? So that's
only Affin Bank is
only Affin Bank is
to be more precise, actually both Boustead Plantations, Boustead, and Affin Bank are, I believe, profitable ones. Definitely Boustead Plantation, because in recent times they've actually shown quite a bit of profit, 2021, 2022.
I think also
even the palm oil.
Correct. But then I think there was a period there they make losses also, like consistently.
Right.
That also the reason why we did in one of the video, right? We say that why one of these analysts is saying that this company is going to go down 50%.
Right.
Yeah, because of that performance. But then because of that takeover, then Boustead share price went up.
Yes, Plantation. Right?
Yes, correct.
But if I'm not mistaken, the numbers, they are profitable from 2021, 2022.
Okay.
Because of mainly the palm oil boom.
Right. Okay.
You can check the profit numbers. So the question is, why do you need to sell Boustead Plantations? Right. And the reason is because there are other areas that they are struggling with.
This one is even more the whole big picture. Like you guys can pause and
you can pause and take a look. So if you look at the group, LTAT, you can see that after the election in 2018, that's when it started to become worse. So you can see, right, over the past 2 to 3 years, it's been going down. And if you look at the profit numbers, the latest one, right?
Not too well.
That's a bit of a challenge, right?
Yeah. And this is a pension fund.
Yeah. Although it's until 2020 only.
Correct. So why is in 2020? Because they never released 2021 and 2022.
Yeah, so think about it. Just think about it, right? 2020 numbers were like that, and then suddenly 3 years later, we're gonna stop reporting. Wow.
Yeah, it's quite funny lah.
So anyway, the point is, all the hints are suggesting that LTAT, actually they're not hints anymore. I think it's almost a matter of fact that they are struggling.
Yeah.
And so, in times of crisis, people will have to sell their crown jewel to keep them alive. And I think Boustead Plantation, which has many thousands of hectares of land that are very good for plantation, unfortunately have to be sold in order to finance the main one. So you can see solvency risk also is pretty high and things like that. Another hint, somewhere earlier last year, LTAT was supposed to return nearly 700 million ringgit to the government, and they did not.
Correct. They actually supposed to give it to I forgot who is it. I think it's the federal government. The federal government. But then this account was actually given to KWAP, which is quite strange. I'm not sure why. There's this transaction. They didn't really say much. But according to the act, the paragraph that is stated, it must be given to federal government. Yeah. So why is that changed?
So imagine now the government is also selling a potential dividend cow in the case of Boustead Plantations to a private company, which will affect some future cash flows, some future dividends for people who rely on LTAT, right? So you can see how sensitive this can be. So it was terminated on the 4th of October, almost about 5 to 6 weeks after they announced that they want to acquire the KLK. So obviously you can imagine if you are in KLK's position, not a very nice thing, because everyone, including people in Boustead Plantation, already said yes. There were articles going around saying, oh, this is an important strategic sort of deal.
It complements with KLK's business.
And KLK is by market cap almost, I think, 10 times bigger than
Boustead Plantation.
So definitely they can do a job.
Yeah.
So in theory, on paper, if it's purely just commercial, no politics involved, this was a deal made in heaven in a way. So another concern is not actually the 33% that is acquired. What is less talked about is that in the deal, there's an implicit understanding that KLK will eventually actually own 65% of Boustead Plantation, meaning they will have a controlling stake. So it's no more just about selling part of your stake to raise funds to manage some of your finances. Now it's essentially giving up control to Kuala Lumpur Kepong, because at that point in time, when they own 65%, they will probably have to go through an MGO, or mandatory general offer, to take the company private. And right after the 24th of August, you can actually start seeing that KLK announced, you can see here, that they have started to acquire shares in the public market. So this is outside of the 33%. By my calculations, it's roughly about 104 million ringgit worth of shares that they have already acquired. So again, you can imagine KLK, they put in about 130 million ringgit for the deposit for the 33%. They're obviously going to pay the rest. And then they spend at least 100 million ringgit to acquire open market shares at a pretty high price, $1.50 something. The average price is $1.52 that they acquire at.
Okay.
Right? So a little bit lower than their $1.55 at 33%.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how frustrated they will be.
Definitely. I mean, the open market, they were throwing price at around 80 cents to $1, R1.20. Then they're actually buying a premium, right?
Yeah, so before all this news come out, you can, not sure the price, we can go back here. So you can see before the news come out, it was as low as 80 cents.
Around 80 cents.
Right, early in June. So
60 cents, 80 cents, then 1 ringgit. Yeah.
So they are offering to buy it really high. Now, why is it that KLK will want to buy at a high price? Well, because the land that Boustead owns is good. I mean, you can imagine when the British, they came here, obviously they're going to choose the best land. Right?
Correct.
So now it was in the hands of Boustead, and then now KLK, a private company, wants to buy over that. That's why they're willing to pay the premium, because they know probably they can be more efficient than what Boustead Plantation did, and so paying that premium is worth it, right? For high quality land. Right. Second reason is KLK has a lot of non-Malaysian assets as well, and they wanted to beef up their Malaysian assets.
Right.
So that's why that's one of the other reasons. So anyway, this is the reason why it was blocked. They did not want KLK to control this. Definitely, whoever it is, right? And definitely it's not people within the Boustead Plantation, because they agreed with KLK, like, hey, yeah, take our shares. So what's going to happen is now the government is going to use money.
Yeah.
Money.
Because LTAT don't have money, so they have to find somewhere.
Correct.
Money.
So they're going to start using our money instead of KLK's money to fund their issues. So they're going to start off with the 300 million ringgit, and you're looking at 2 billion for total. So that's that is going to be fun.
And what's even more interesting is that this Muhammad Hassan, which is one of the directors in Boustead, he told the Dewan Rakyat on September that they really are desperate for money. So they need 800 million this year end. You need to give us that money. And they also need another 1.7 billion to redeem their IMTN.
Which is their loans, their Islamic loans. So actually it could climb up to 2.5, right? If I'm seeing this correctly.
Yeah, could be.
So yeah, nice. This is also why, maybe GST will come back. So anyways, you want to share with us a little bit about the dividends?
Yeah, okay. So this was LTAT's previous glorious day when they actually announced a very high teens dividend rate. It's actually 2 times better than EPF. And actually a lot of people think that, they thought LTAT's fund manager is like Warren Buffett. Because if you look at the returns, right, for the past, I would say like 42 years, sure, initially there's 8%. Then you see the double digit, 10%, 18%. It's just pretty remarkable when you think that you are managing like billions of funds.
Like a REIT,
Yeah. Actually, it's even better than REIT.
Better than REIT.
Yeah. It's like Warren Buffett is managing this money. Yeah. So it's actually very, very impressive. Then here comes in 2020 and 2018's number, right? You see the 8% suddenly become 2%, 3%. And then recently they say that best we can do is 4% to 5%. That is the best they can provide the returns. They can no longer give that 10% already. We don't know why, but actually we know why, but we're not going to share. But yeah, we just let you guys think what's the reason behind the sudden drop. And then you can see that just like I mentioned, they're going to be giving a 5%. Yay, better than the 2% in 2018. It's a double. And it actually has been in an investigation also in 2018. They actually found like some auditing issue. There's years of mismanaged and irregularities. They think that the numbers doesn't look right.
Let's run this very. Do you have more to go?
This one is just the payments.
Yeah, this is just the payments. This
the contributions. Yeah.
Okay, before we go to strategy forward, let's. So what's the average? 10%.
Yeah, you can say 10%, 12%.
12% as a dividend. Okay, so mind you, our top companies in Malaysia that is purely private, i.e., competitive environment, which would be someone like Uchitech, maybe an FPI. I can't remember others. What others? But these guys
maybe Harrison.
Harrison, right? Their best is maybe 5%.
Yeah,
6%.
8% is the max.
8% is max, and there's only some years. Whereas these guys, you can see,
it's very consistent.
It's like double, it's teens, right?
Correct.
Now, I just want you to think, when we go back to this, can Boustead Heavy Industries, which is the army side, plantation, Affin banking, and pharmaceuticals, that is heavily regulated in price. Do you think these 4 industries combined can produce double-digit returns? Just think about it. What is double-digit returns? Double-digit returns is closer to, maybe it's just below TAC. It's just slightly below.
Yeah. Right. Or they invested something that actually 10x or more than their returns for a very long time.
Yeah,
so
but obviously, these are 4 companies.
Yeah, but this is 4 companies.
Banking, it's maybe 10%, maybe. Plantations, definitely not. Pharma, potentially, maybe. But the point is, you gotta think and wonder, how did they achieve this?
Yeah.
And perhaps they didn't, right? Perhaps this was an overly aggressive amount to pay.
Correct.
And part of me wonders why did they need to promise or give people the impression that they could pay this amount.
Correct.
And that there would be no repercussions down the road.
Yeah.
Imagine if they paid half of this amount. So instead of, let's call it 12-13%, they paid 5% instead, 6%, like EPF.
Yeah.
Do you think that they would be struggling, that they will have to sell their assets, that they would need the rakyat's money, essentially 2.2 to 2.5 billion ringgit?
I mean, what's even funnier is that 1997 Asian financial crisis, 2008, the global financial crisis, they are still making money. They're still giving back returns. I mean, even, I don't know, maybe.
And then we
Buffett's
saw later
returns.
on, okay, you see, right? I'm not sure how much. So they have a total payout of, at 5%, you're looking
at
at
476 million.
476. So if they're paying 10%, that means traditionally they'll be paying almost 1 billion ringgit. Okay? Historically. Now, imagine if they did not pay an average of 10% for just 10 years here. Okay, this is more than 10%, right?
Yeah,
But imagine they didn't pay. If my calculations are right, they will have an additional 500 million ringgit in the bank. Right? What happened is that they now have to sell part of their shipyard back to MOF.
Because it was, I'm not sure. That's why there's a period of time where the people were actually complaining.
Yeah.
You give 2 billion to someone to maintain the ship and everything, but the ship still wasn't maintained properly. So where is all the 2 billion? Where do you want? Yeah. So that was the biggest question that they were
Correct.
asking.
So imagine if they had the additional 500 million ringgit that they did not pay out. 5 billion ringgit. Apologies.
5 billion,
Over 10 years, if they pay 1 billion every year, it's 10 billion and they keep half, right? 5 billion. So the government intends to acquire the entire company for 9.3 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the literal combat ship.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that 5 billion would have come in handy to manage some of the issues at BHIC. Right? But
yeah. So correct. So this is the strategies after the restructuring, after a lot of cleanup that they need to do. A few things that they want to say is that they are still looking to divest some of the assets that they are holding because they need cash right now. So they say that they're going to be rebalancing, diversifying their portfolio. But then it won't be very fast. You say it's gradually it's going to do everything right. So they want to do asset restructuring first, then only start to diversify. They also want to say that for real estate and private equity, they want to be less heavy on that. So they want to own like maybe around 10% each for these two. And as for the naval ship, the BNS, they say that the reason why they are facing a very big issue is also because of this military ship. It actually has a lot of liabilities and it actually made their equities negative. Yeah, correct. It's like billions. It's billions of ringgit. So, but then not only that, they also say that this combat ship, right, is very hard to get financing. Like the banks, they are very cautious in lending this military ship.
mind you, I find this very fascinating because Boustead literally owns a bank. And this is the military.
Yeah.
I can just imagine what the bankers must be thinking when they worry about lending to the military. It's a big question mark to me.
Correct. They must.
They literally have a bank. They have Affin Bank, right?
Maybe they did some fact checking. Not sure. But so this one is just basically a recent news also. They say that they want to extend the disposal for 20% of the neighbor shipyard to Ministry of Finance. So again, the Ministry of Finance is buying the ship now. So right now they're trying to like get a deal and extend the date for them to dispose. So this is the right comment. I mean, definitely after 2018, the cleanup I could say that they are in the right direction. I mean, if they
won't die. I mean, if that's what you mean.
Correct. I mean, if they prolong and they say that they still can give double-digit return and there's like no cleanup in the financing and everything, right? I think it could have been even a worse situation. Could be even more dire. So, but that is all just talk right now. They are still like in a proposal strategy. That's why I see like the deal suddenly cut off. It's all just talk only. a lot of things are actually getting also impacted because of maybe government don't like, that's why they don't want to execute. So yeah, execution is key, and we are kind of like indirectly have to help LTAT or rather the government do some funding.
It's unfortunate that KLK does not get to own the company. Unfortunate not just for KLK, but also for us, the rakyat, and don't forget the soldiers as well who rely on LTAT and whoever military personnel. Because if KLK comes in, one thing we are guaranteed of is efficiency. And with the efficiency comes a more consistent stream of dividends, and maybe definitely won't be as high, but it will be relevant. It will be a good consistent amount. You know that whatever they're going to pay is going to be there and it's going to grow. I think that's the key. I think if KLK came in, okay, they'll be taken private. But suppose if they stayed public, I'm quite sure the share price will have gone up as well. And even if it didn't, the private market value of LTAT would certainly increase. And in the future, if they decide to sell, don't forget, people say, okay, acquire and all that. Yes, it's true, but LTAT and Boustead still owns a 1/3 stake in the company. And, people should not forget that.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, it's a very gloomy kind of video, kinda. Maybe.
Yeah, well, it is a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. And guys, if you like this sort of analysis, we actually do way deeper stuff in our FIRL Pro program, especially our Telegram groups. You want to shortcut your research when it comes to investing, FIRL Pro is the place for you. We don't do valuations, no price targets, no projections. But what we do is we help you get you up to speed on certain companies so that, instead of figuring out everything out yourself, we do it for you maybe 80-90% of the way. And at the end of the day, you just focus on deciding whether or not you want to buy or sell your investments. If you want to get a sense of the program, go check out our free sample. And guys, as usual, thanks for staying all the way until the end. Let us know in the comments what you think of this whole Boustead situation. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Peace.